afternoon, Democrats. I'm Scott J. Hamilton, your guest host today for the Chair's Daily Live. It's the 25th day of January. That means we are almost out of this month. And so happy Tuesday today to everyone. Last night we had a great discussion on the Hamilton Report with Veronica Jones and Carol Aseo, who are both educators, talking about the dangers faced by Oklahoma students and educators based on some of the proposed legislation for this legislative session. If you missed that broadcast, I encourage you to go back and listen to it because some great information. I learned a lot, and I think that you will be glad that you tuned in as well. So you can catch the Hamilton Report on YouTube or on the Oklahoma Democratic Party's Facebook page. Well, I told you yesterday we're going to be presenting bills to you as they come out, things that we need to be paying attention to or concerned about. And actually, I have a really interesting piece of legislation to point to today. This is Representative Forrest Bennett, who is a great Democrat. He has proposed a bill because of all of the bills that are looking to eliminate a woman's right to choose, up to and including making abortion a felony in the state of Oklahoma for both the patient and the physician. But his bill says, okay, you're going to do that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say that the father's responsibility to care for the mother and child begins at conception. So what that means is that the father cannot just go away from his responsibilities. And there would be some teeth in this that would make sure that the child and mother were cared for. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out in the course of this session, but it was a piece of legislation I really found interesting and I wanted to share with you. Now we're going to take a look at a quick video. It's just 2 minutes long, but I hope that you'll stay with me on this one because it's very interesting and it's haunting in its message. This is by the Lincoln Project. They've done some really great work over the last few years, and this is their newest one. Let's roll that and take a look at their latest video.
It's an old story. At first, they seem ridiculous. The big egos, the bad ideas. Some of them seem almost comical. Not here, the people say. Yet men like these find their following because they know how to use hate and fear. Fear of foreigners, immigrants, and minorities. Of Jews, Muslims, Christians. They dismiss the experts, demonize the press, promise they alone can deliver better lives and brighter futures. If they could only be rid of the obstacles to that power. Eventually, enough people buy it. They hand the fate of their nations over to madmen. But then suddenly, it's not so funny. The military deploys on the streets to protect the leader. Names appear on enemy lists. Opposition voices are silenced or imprisoned. The leader promises the right bloodlines will survive, and the wrong ones will be purged. It's an old story, one that could never happen here. The very idea is ridiculous, almost comical. There's no one dividing us, no one telling us who to hate, who to put in cages, no one demonizing the press, dismissing the experts, no would-be savior claiming he alone can fix our problems if only the obstacles to power are removed. No one singling out the other, telling us what should become of them. No enemy lists, no threats of imprisonment. No one lashing out when their ego is threatened, demanding absolute loyalty and using the military to control the streets. No, it can't happen. Not here. We know too well how it begins, and it's always been up to us how it ends.
Like I said, it's a haunting video because it's true. I have not spoken publicly about 45 in over a year, and that's been a pleasure, actually. But I'm concerned with the legislation that we're seeing proposed here in Oklahoma and around the country, that it's as if 45 still has his hand up the puppet, controlling things because of the nastiness of some of the legislation. This is why we keep asking all Democrats to help register more Democrats in our state, because we have to register more Democrats to elect more Democrats so that we are no longer held hostage by the situation that we find ourselves in today. People who were seemingly thoughtful, caring people just a few years ago are the very ones now who seem to distrust everything, who make issues where there should be none, and are reactionary when there's no reason to be. And yet that's what's playing out in our capital and capitals around the country. And that's why it's critical that all of us do our part so that we don't have an end to our democracy the way that it very well could end if we're not proactive. And I honestly am not wild about using that terminology, because you say our democracy has lived well all these years. Well, it has, but it's still an experiment. We're still a young country, and the fears that we face are reasonable given the things that we are seeing. Some of the flip flopping done. Lindsey Graham, for example, called 45 crazy and unfit for office, and now he can't be lapdog enough for that person. So it's a very strange time we're living in, but we owe it to ourselves and to each other, and most of all to those who will come after us, to continue to do our part. And those are the things that we're doing incrementally, one at a time, like registering people to vote. Yesterday, we went through the process of how to help someone register to vote right from your phone. It's that easy, but it's something we can't wait until September or October or November to do. We need to get folks registered now so that we can keep them engaged in the process. We have a lot of things happening this year with the state party, including April 23rd is our campaign academy. This is training that is specific to candidates, super volunteers, campaign workers, where we give you the tools that you need to succeed. Your party is here to help. If you've been thinking about running for office, not sure if it's the right time, or maybe even not sure what office you would like to run for, reach out, call us, because we can help guide you through the process and even help you determine, is this the right time for you? Or would it be better to plan now for a run in 2 years? But we need you, because we need thoughtful people in office. We need people who care. And I've been hearing people say, I'm a Democrat, but I'm running because I'm an ultra conservative Democrat. I don't even know what that means. Ultra conservative and Democrat seems to be a non sequitur to me. But that's what we have. And worse than anything is the Republicans across the aisle who refuse to work with Democrats. And that's why we need your help in registering voters. That's why we need your help in contributing to help register voters. And speaking of which, we sent out an email last week explaining how the gap between Democrats and Republicans registered to vote in Oklahoma is quite sizable, and we need to close that gap. Well, friends, I'm happy to tell you that we have raised enough money just since that email went out to register 500 new Democrats. And that's the process we went through yesterday, where we send them a completed voter registration form. They sign it, mail it back, postage paid. And that means we have one more Democrat who can vote this year. We have elections coming up starting February 8th in many municipalities, including Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Norman, many others around the state, for mayor, for city councils, for school boards. So it's a big year. It's an exciting year. And I will tell you, this is something that our chair said um, even before last year ended. She said, I have hope. And I do too, because frankly, if I didn't, I couldn't get up and come to work every day. I would not feel, I would not feel like I was doing my part if I did not begin each day with an attitude of hopefulness. And thankfully, I hear those stories of hope from people who call the office and stop by, who just want to share their positive attitude. And that's a great thing to see. It's a great thing to hear from Democrats in Oklahoma. I think all of us are feeling like we have been the butt end of jokes for way too long. And it's time to put our state back on the right track for our children, for our seniors, for everyone in between. So, again, this is a plea to invite you to register 5 new voters. And of those 5 people, ask each one of them to register 5 new voters as well. It really does make a difference. And that's how we together as the Oklahoma Democratic Party are going to change the course of Oklahoma and Oklahoma's history by making this a better, fairer, more enjoyable place for all of us to live. Well, we're out of time for today. I want to thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. I know Alicia misses being here with you every afternoon. She'll be back soon. I'll be back with you again tomorrow. But until then, please take really good care of yourself and each other. We've got a lot of work to do this year. So stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.